Okay, so we're back for the finale of this Road to S-Rank series. Third on the grid here with a 32.6 in the Porsche 919 Hybrid. We're at Monza and we're just a smidgen short of achieving our S driver rating here. So we need a good result. We're on the cusp, so let's see what we can do as we get underway. 11 laps, so there'll be one pit stop at about the halfway stage, and we're underway. Recorded this a week or two ago, so it's going to be a bit new to me as well. So let's see how we get on now. Fuel mix 1 as we head down to turn 1 and that crucial braking zone. With the rolling start, it's not quite as chaotic as it would be otherwise from a standing start, but you've still got to hope that you manage to avoid contact, and the two cars ahead have touched. And one goes spinning round, and we get a good run on the second one as well, and we're going to be alongside here as we go through this long right-hander. So we're going the long way round here. I'm not sure if we're going to have enough, and indeed we don't, so I think we've switched the fuel mix down and tried to tuck into the slipstream, and the car behind gaining really quickly as we brake now into the chicane, and the car behind us gets hit, as you can see in the rearview mirror there, and takes us along with him. And we go plunging down to 9th position, and then we make an error and touch the gravel as well out of sheer frustration, I think. And yeah, down to 10th now as we enter the first Lesmo. And yeah, what a disaster that was. We survived turn 1, actually gained positions, battling for the lead out of turn 1. It all went horribly wrong. So we've got a lot of work to do now if we want to achieve that S rank. So yeah, let's see if we can knuckle down now and put that behind us and try and make our way through the field. Hopefully not getting tangled into any more incidents, as one car goes off there, into the scurry, and we manage to avoid contact with him, and we exit out of there in 9th position. I believe we will have to do a bit of fuel management, but we've cut the inside there and received a 1.4 second time penalty. That's so frustrating. Purely cut that because of the car in front of us losing control and just trying to keep an eye on him and not make contact, and in making that tiny cut we've received that time penalty, which we will now have to serve at some point during this race, which will hurt us. So we'll see where we decide to serve that, to try and minimise the time loss as best we can. So once again we go on to lap 2 then, breaking into the first chicane for the and yeah, decent exit there, getting on the power as early as you can, get great traction of course on these 4-wheel drive hybrid cars. So yeah, just nailing the throttle on the exit and chasing down 8th place now. So yeah, middle of the pack sort of situation here at the moment, and a big gaggle of cars ahead, breaking down into the chicane, clip the curb. You don't want to take too much curb or it does unsettle the car. And we're moving down to fuel mix 2 now through these Lesmo corners, just to try and do a little bit of fuel saving. Well, you don't need it so much, and I expect we'll switch back to fuel mix 1 on the exit here, and we do. And all the cars ahead, one's run wide there, and we should be able to make a clean pass on him on the right hand side. He tucks in nicely to the left, gives us plenty of room, and that moves us into 8th position now. And braking again under the bridge there, turning in as early as possibly can but without cutting, then riding that curb, and then across again to the left, avoiding that little chevron there on the left. That's if you cut that, that's when you get your penalties. So heading down 8th position, 1.2 seconds behind the car ahead of us, and yeah, we've got to make some headway now if we can. We need to get through these guys as quick as we can. There's the car ahead of us there, super slow into the braking zone there, really catches us out actually, and we survived, but yeah, he was really slow there. But that has put us into a slipstream effect now just about, so that should help us gain that few extra mile per hour down here into turn 1. And as he lifts there, something happens to him there. I'm not sure whether he was lifting for a penalty there or what, but wow, we had to move to the inside super quick there. His car did ghost, but I wasn't aware it was going to do that at the time. And yeah, another strange situation going on there with that guy, but we do clear him now and move into 7th, and chasing down 6th, 5th and 4th by the look of it there, from what I can see on my small display here. Ahead of us, yeah, we've got 2 cars immediately ahead of us as we run a bit wide there on the exit, but managed to avoid running on that curb, which does lose you traction and settles the car. Hook it into here, 4th gear, on the gas as early as you can, run it out to the curb on the left hand side, and then this one, try and nick the curb again on the inside and run it out to the outside. We get a little bit of a wiggle on there. It's a tricky corner that, you want to compromise the entry to get a good exit for the run down here if you possibly can. We didn't do it too well that lap, but yes, all about getting a good exit out of there. And again, hitting that braking zone, turning in, riding that curb, we get on it nicely, and the car's holding on pretty well. The car ahead of us does run a bit wide on the exit, losing a bit of momentum, but not too bad. So much power with these cars that if you do make a mistake, it's actually quite easy just to get back on the gas, and you don't lose too much time. Momentum isn't that important in these. And yeah, we got a good exit out here, again obviously crucial. We are making inroads. But yeah, that was not the ideal start at all, and when we were desperate for a sort of top 3 or 4 finish to finally get over the line to that S rating, that was the absolute worst start possible after a decent qualifying position as well. Being in 3rd, you sort of hope you'll avoid the carnage, but the contact behind us just sent us spinning, and yeah, really put massive dents into our hopes of winning perhaps the race otherwise. But the race has settled down now, so that will hopefully allow us to push and use our speed. I think we do have decent speed here, and to hopefully pick these cars off at some stage. We decide there to serve our time penalty. As you can see, we just didn't accelerate out of there, and yeah, it's dropped us way off the cars ahead, but we just felt we had to serve it and get it out of the way. Otherwise it's just left hanging there, and you know you've got to serve it at some point, and you don't know how tight it'll be at the end, so I just thought we'd get that done and forget about it and move on. But that has now put us 2.2 seconds behind 6th place. Lap 4 the race already, so the laps do fly by here, such high speeds. The laps do just go. And yeah, we haven't really made too many inroads from that initial lap 1 carnage. Picked a couple off, but pack quite spread out quickly here. And you can see from the qualifying times before we went to the race that everyone's so close that if you end up getting put behind for whatever reason due to a contact as we had, it's so difficult to actually claw back time. Everyone's lapping within a second or two of each other anyway. So it's very difficult to make up for a mistake or being hit in this case. But anyway, we head down to turn 1 again. Still using that fuel mix 1, you've got to use it almost all the time, apart from, as I say, the middle sector of the lap, which you can back it off a little bit. Otherwise you've just got to be on mix 1, or you just lose too much time and you're sitting duck there to cars behind. So on lap 5, so we'll be pitting, I presume, this lap or next lap. Not sure which we do. But yeah, it'll be one of these two. We've got plenty of fuel left, but it's all about maximising the tyre usage as well. So you've got a bit of wear on the front and rear lefts. And you do start to feel that. You do just lose that bite and that turn into the corners. So yeah, will we go for an undercut, or will we go the lap longer and try and make the use of the low fuel for the additional lap? We'll see what we do. So yeah, not the most exciting race in the world, but I thought, as we've done this Road to S Rank series, I better display the race where we do finally limp over the line and achieve that rating that we've been going for 6 months now, pretty much since the game came out. So yes, it's my 3rd race of the day, I think, around Monza. And finishing the top 5 the previous 2 meant that we were in with a shot here of getting across the line. And so yeah, I was so disappointed when we had that contact. The other 2 races were pretty clean, and we exit onto the straight to start lap 6, so we're going again. So I imagine we will be pitting the end of this lap. 1.8 laps of fuel remaining, so yeah, we're going to push it on the fuel and carry on. Hit that braking point, 150 metre mark, sort of maybe just a little bit after that, but I think in the race I've been playing a bit safer. In qualifying, you just want to brake as late as you possibly can. I think in between the 150 and 100 metre boards. You take quite a bit of the curb on the right hand side as well into turn 1. You can really bounce across that and the car doesn't get too unsettled. And then obviously maximise your exit. That's what it's all about at this track. Entry into the corner, not so critical as long as you get a good exit. It's definitely worth giving up a few tenths on the way in. And pretty much keeping even Stevens, it looks like, with the car ahead of us, so 2.7 seconds behind. So there's nothing much between us. But I think we do have the pace, you know, to match these guys at least. So I think if we could have kept that 3rd or 2nd position we were in, we could have defended that position. But as I mentioned, making up the time once you've lost it is almost impossible. And there's not actually many corners on this lap to make a difference really. autosave fuel, it's pretty much just you've been flat out for so much of the lap that you can't gain much on the cars around you. You're all just doing the same thing. So it's sort of frustrating if you do get taken out here. The driver can't have as much of an impact at perhaps some other tracks, Suzuka or something like that, where you can try and make up some time. So here we go then, we enter the pit lane, fit a new set of hard tyres in our, as you can see, F1TsHub liveried car here in preparation for the FIA Championships, which start in April, I think, the actual official championships, so we'll be hopefully set for that. And there we go, we put just enough fuel in, 5.2 laps, so we're going to push now until the end, and we come out of the pits, car right behind us there, so pick our braking point into turn 1 carefully. It's so easy to brake yourself there. In the other couple of races I was misjudging that exit in the pits, but we do okay this time, and the car behind us, look, you can see loses the rear end of the car there. It is tricky exiting the pits there, perhaps cold tyres as well, and it does seem really easy to lose the car in the chicane, but we managed to do it okay, and in 7th position then. So we're all on our own now. We can just focus on hitting the lap times and see what we can do, see if we can make any inroads, or whether this is going to be as good as it gets for us. I think some drivers perhaps, is everyone pitted now? I'm not sure. I think they probably have, and what we 1 point, oh, the car behind us actually makes a mistake there. I was just going to say the lap time looks to be coming down, the gap looks to be coming down, and it absolutely has. He's made a mistake, and we go by, and that moves us into 6th. That could be absolutely crucial for us. I think he must have touched the gravel there on the exit in the corner. I mentioned earlier how important the exit was there. It's very easy just to touch the gravel and lose all the momentum. And yeah, he's gone. The car behind us, massive gap already now, in front and behind. So it looks like a clear run here in 6th position. It'll probably be pretty difficult now, barring mistakes from other drivers, to actually move any further up the field. So we're going to have to hope this is enough for us, or that some sort of opportunities arise in the last couple of laps. So yeah, we got 4 laps remaining and 4.1 laps of fuel, so we're on the limit there, so we can push pretty hard now to the end. See the 2 cars, you can see 5th, 4th and 3rd, you know, just tantalisingly close, just exiting the first corner there, but they're just out of reach for us at the moment. 4.1 seconds to the car ahead, and yeah, all we can do now is focus on ourselves and yeah, put in as good lap times as we can, clean, and try not to make any mistakes. That's the most important thing here now, I think, is just don't mess it up now. Bring home the 6th position, and take those crucial driver points that will hopefully come our way. And 2 seconds now to the car ahead, so 5th place there, made a mistake. People pushing hard, and they are paying the price for it, and he is within sort of touching distance now. I'm not sure if we'll have the pace to actually close him in though. I sort of feel we weren't driving great in this race. We're doing alright, but we're not compared with qualifying. The car just it's a shock going from qualifying with the car obviously on low fuel and ultra grippy, and then you go into the race and you're just scared of making a mistake. So I'm just driving within myself or trying to, and just knowing that I can't afford to drop it here and perhaps lose that driver rating again. When you're on the bubble there, I was just desperate to cross the line and finally get there in time for April, which was always the goal I set, was to do it by April when the official FIA Championships were meant to start. So I sort of knew that this was my best opportunity. Monza, Suzuka, Brands Hatch are probably my favourite tracks on the game today. So once those ones come up in the daily race rota, I always try and get on if I possibly can. I know that's my best chance of gaining the driver rating I need, but definitely Monza out of those 3, Suzuka, Brands, Monza's definitely the one that can give you big rewards, but you can get massive penalties as well in terms of the chances of collisions are just so high here with those huge braking zones. It's so easy to get rear-ended by another car, people misjudging the braking, even just by a few meters can leave you storming straight on or into the back of another car. So it's very, very difficult to have a clean safety rating in this race. So it's always a bit of a risk, but it's one where I know I'm reasonably quick at, so I went ahead with it anyway. And yeah, it's working out not so bad for us. As I mentioned, we had 2 top 5 finishes before that. We're currently 6th, so yeah, from 3rd on the grid, it hasn't been amazing after that beginning. Not much wheel-to-wheel action going on, but it is the result, and the points this time out that matter. And we come up now to the final corner on the end of lap 9, so just 2 laps remaining now. Pick our braking point there, 100 metre board, down to 4th, try and hug that curb as much as you can, get the power as early as you possibly can and run it out to the AstroTurf there on the left hand side. It is pretty grippy as well, so if you do misjudge it and touch a wheel on the AstroTurf, it won't just pitch you off, you can just keep your foot buried in these cars, which is good, takes a bit of the stress of the corner away. And the car ahead of us is eking away again, a couple of tenths, now 2.2 roughly. So yeah, we haven't quite got the pace, he's got a tenth or two on us a lap here. So yeah, we're not able to challenge as we get on the curb there on the exit as well, which definitely hurts in momentum. And you'll see him probably just gradually pull away on the sector tyres. No, he's actually got a worse exit than us. But definitely when you qualify, if you were just touching that curb as we did there, you could just see the tenths of a second just rolling away from you. Again, take as much curb here as you can on the inside, but avoid that sausage curb there on the right, on the second part of the corner of the chicane. And then 50 metre board, tuck it into 4th gear, try and hook the apex up, which we do, bring it out to the outside, and leave it in 5th, down to 4th, 3rd, hit the apex and on the power again as early as you can, try and avoid running on the curb too much on the exit there, which we do. So we're driving okay now, we've got clear air, we've settled into the race now, and hitting our apexes pretty well, driving pretty consistently. That 4.3 second gap behind us, now we can just monitor that to the end and just try and bring it home here and take the points if we can. So we are coming up now to start the final lap. We're good on fuel, 1.3 laps remaining. As I mentioned before, this will be the final video in this Road to S-Rank series. So after this now, the next videos coming up will probably be from the FIA Championship week, which is at some point in April, I'm not sure the date. Hopefully I'll be doing videos for all of those races that I enter. So there should be a fair few videos coming onto the channel pretty soon as we try and see what we can do in those FIA Championships, try and get as good a result as we can. That's why I was desperate for the S rating. You get more points the higher rated you are, so to be in with any sort of chance at all, you've got to be in that S rank if you possibly can. So yeah, I'll be hopefully recording all of those races, perhaps even live streaming a couple of them as well, and perhaps live streaming some of the GT League content as well, some of the new content that's just come out now. So yeah, we should have a fair few videos coming up on the channel soon. But that is the end for this series. As the driver ahead of us makes an error, can we capitalise? No, we can't. He unghosts there right in front of us, so we have nowhere to go, but we're absolutely on his tail now. 5th place car there right ahead of us. We're tucked in the slipstream, mix 1. We've got just about half a lap of fuel left, so we've got to be a bit careful on the fuel in the slipstream, but he's got good straight line speed as well. We move out to the left. We're going to go for a manoeuvre here, are we? We do, stick it down the inside, and the car is behind, is kind to us. It gives us plenty of space, and that gains us a position. We weren't expecting that. That was a nice surprise. Picked him off okay there into Ascari. And yeah, he was pretty much defenceless there once we had the inside. He does get a good run on us here, but we stayed to the inside of the track, try and brake as late as we possibly can, and looks like we fended him off. We'll move out to the outside of the track now, fully on the gas, and that's going to be it. And fuel, 0.2 laps remaining, we're absolutely on the bubble there. We're 0.1 as we cross the line. And 4th place we end up with, due to penalties. You can see the little red dots there, and the actual time penalty there for the car behind us that we were chasing. He ends up being behind us by just a tenth or so of a second, and so from 6th position there we end up finishing, crossing the line 4th, and I have to say I was pretty delighted with that. That was 3 positions there pretty much on the last half a lap, and that 4th place was enough to achieve that S driver rating that we've been after for so long. And I will put up at the end of this video the Kudos Prime website stats for you to see, so you can take a look for yourselves and see how we managed to get there. And yeah, I was delighted, and a lot of hard effort there has finally paid off for us. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back for, as I say, the FIA Championship races in April, and I'll leave you here with the driver rating stats. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.